Today's lesson is the second part of 2.2, Solving Systems by Substitution and Elimination. Today we're going to talk about elimination. In example 3, it asks us to solve the linear system using the elimination method. There are 5 steps to help us solve by using the elimination method. The first thing we need to do is we need to make sure that both of our equations are in standard form. They must be in the form ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are numbers. So let's just quickly take a look at our two equations. Yes, 4 is a, -3 is b, and 5 is c. And for the second one, -2 is A, 3 is B, and -7 is C. Okay, now I don't really need that. I just need to visually look to make sure. I'm going to determine which variable I am going to eliminate first. Okay, to do that, I need to have the same coefficient. So it needs to be 3x and 3x, or 2y and 2y. They have to be exactly the same. I don't need to worry about the sign, okay? I don't need to worry about the sign because as you can see, if you kept reading, the sign's going to determine if I add or subtract them together. So all I have to do is look at the x's. So let's go ahead and look at the x. Okay, look at the x's. Are the numbers in front the same? No, they are not. 4 and -2, or 4 and 2 are not the same. Let's go ahead and look at the y's. Are the numbers in front the same? 3 and 3. Yes, here we go. So we are going to eliminate the y's. Now, one of the things I like to do is I like to highlight the one that I'm going to eliminate. Okay, I still have equation 1 and equation 2, but I need to look to see, do they have the same number? Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at the signs. If the signs in front of those highlighted 3y's are the same, then I'm going to subtract. If they are different signs, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add. So let's go ahead and look at them. Well, one is a minus and one is a plus. These are going to be different signs, so we're going to go ahead and add together our two equations. Now, what some people like to do is put a big plus here, and then they just go like this. Now, be very careful because you're adding the x's, you're adding the y's, and you're adding the constants. You have to add each spot. So we're going to solve for the variable left. We're going to go ahead and do our adding. Sorry, we got to do our adding. So we're going to go ahead. I like to bring the plus in between. I'm going to do 4x plus -2x. That would give me 2x. I'm going to do -3 plus 3y plus +3y. That's going to cancel out and eliminate. Equals, because it's got to stay where it is, 5 plus -7, which is -2. Now, if we created this third equation, remember that's very important for when we move on to our next lesson, but I have a third equation, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for the variable that's left. To do so, I simply have to divide. -2 divided by +2 gives me +1, and there's my answer. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to substitute my answer from step 3, that's the circled -1, into an equation to find the other variable. It is completely my choice. Would I rather do -3 times -1, or would I rather do +3 times -1? It's totally my choice. I think I'm going to do the first one. I think I'm going to go and plug it into equation number 1, which is 4, but x is going to become -1 minus 3y equals 5. So in this equation, in this blank, I'm going to put my -1 from up above. I'm going to do the multiplication. And now I have an equation with just the variable y that I can solve. I can solve this equation for the variable y. I'm going to take my add or subtract and I'm going to get rid of it. Be careful. It looks like subtract, but it's a -4. So I'm going to have to go ahead and add that 4 to get it to the other side. There we go. Which leaves me with -3y equals 9. The minus in this case does not disappear. The minus in this case does not disappear. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that multiplication by simply dividing by -3. And I get the answer of y equals -3 when I divide. Let's take a look at another one. Solve the linear system by using the elimination method. So once again, remember you want to look to see if we have the same coefficient, or that they're in standard form. 7x plus 2 minus 2y equals 5. A is 7, B is -2, C is 5, and 7x minus 3y equals 4. A is 7, B is -3, C is 4. So we're in standard form. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look to see if we have the same coefficient in front of the x's. I always check x first. Look at that, 7, 7. There's my, oops, that's not what I wanted. There's my same coefficient. Now I'm going to go ahead and look at them. Let's look at equation 1 and let's look at equation 2. Are they the same signs or are they different signs? Well, +7 and +7 would be the same side. So when they are the same side, I'm going to go back up here. Same sign, I'm going to subtract this time. I'm going to subtract. Same sign, subtract. So 7 minus 7x becomes 0. I'm going to do -2y minus -3. -2 minus -3 would be just +1y. How lucky are we? And 5 minus 4 would be 1. We got lucky on that one, guys. We already have an answer. And we already have an answer because remember, this one was the invisible 1, which we don't have to have. Now we're ready and we can go back and substitute it in. It doesn't matter which one. I'll go ahead and plug it into equation number 2 this time, just so that you guys can see that it does not matter which one I plug it into. So let's plug it in here. And by it, I mean the one in the y's position. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our multiplication. 3 times 1 is 3. Now I can solve this equation for the variable x. Let's get rid of our -3 by adding it to both sides. There we go. 4 plus 3 is 7. Let's get rid of our multiplication by dividing. X equals 1 as well. Remember, you could write this as an ordered pair. If you were to do so, it would look just like that. All right, I think I have one last one. Let's go ahead and solve using the elimination method. Okay, let's double check to make sure that we are in standard form. So 4x plus 3y equals 8. A is 4, B is 3, C is 8, and x minus 2y equals 13. A is 1, B is -2, and C is 13. We're good to go. Let's take a look at equation 1 and equation 2, and let's see if we have matching coefficients. So let's take a look at the x's. Well, I have 4 and I have 1. Nope, not the same. Let's take a look at the y's. I have 3 and I have 2. Not the same. This happens sometimes. This does happen sometimes. And when it does, I can manipulate one of my equations using multiplication to make it look exactly like the other equation. Now, for this to work, what I want to do, I can do one of two things. Um, I can look for one of my equations to have a x one or a y one to just to be one x or one y, like this one right here in equation 2. If I do that, I can make 1 become 4 by multiplying it by 4. Or my other option is to look at the y's. Notice how they have a different number. If I multiply 3y by 2, I get 6y. And if I multiply 2y by 3, I get 6y. These are the same, and all I have to do is multiply equation 1 by the number in front of equation 2, and equation 2 by the number in front of equation 1. This works every time. That does work every time. But sometimes when you have a 1 like this, it just is a little bit easier because you only have to do one multiplication. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take equation 1 and I'm simply going to copy it. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm going to keep it exactly how it is. Now what I'm going to do to equation 2 is I'm going to multiply it by 4. I am going to go ahead and change equation 2 by multiplying everybody by 4. So I'm going to do 4 times x, 4 times 2, and 4 times 13. So I get 4x minus 8y equals 52. Now you can see that my equation 1 and my equation 2 have common coefficients with our x values, 4x and 4x. They are the same sign. They are the same sign. So we are going to go ahead and subtract. 4 minus 4 becomes 0. Let's go and subtract here as well. 3 minus a negative 8 becomes 11x because that minus a minus becomes a plus. And 8 minus 52 is negative 44. To solve for our y, we're going to go ahead and divide by 11, giving us an answer of negative 4. There's my first answer. Now let's go back and plug it in. When you go back to plug it in, you have some options. You can plug it into equation 1. You can plug it into equation 2, just the part inside the parentheses, or you can plug it into this one over here, which is kind of like our new equation 2. Any of the equations will work. I think I'm going to go with equation number 1 simply because there's no negatives. There's no negatives. So 3, and we're going to open it up for y equals 8. This is where we're going to plug in our negative 4. Let's go ahead and solve. There's my multiplication. Remember, you're solving for x. You got to get rid of that minus 12 by doing the opposite. So let's add 12. 8 and 12 is 20. Yep, there we go. We're going to get rid of the multiplication in between the 4 and the x by dividing by 4. And x is equal to 5. If we were to write this, ooh, that didn't work. There we go. That's better. If we were to write this as an ordered pair, it would be the ordered pair 5, 4.